that might not be as much of a case as those who firsthand witnessed Magnus's greatness, played against him, grown up with him. And we're off to game 4 right now. It is Alireza Firouzja with the white pieces, and it is the Italian for us.
Curious what Magnus plays. Will he move his bishop? Will he move his knight? Will he play something else? He moves his bishop indeed. Maybe Alireza goes for a little Evans gambit. There's a lot of gambits in these positions, all right. He plays the professional variation. Ah, yes, this is the Firouzja. Alireza loves to bring this bishop out early in the Italian. It's not the most normal way to handle it. And then you drop the bishop back like this. And because your pin on the knight is so strong, you bait black into playing either that move, which he just played, very passive, or attacking you with the g-pawn. But Magnus, he's not interested. Magnus is not going into the type of position that Alireza wants, Tanya. He wants to play symmetrical king's pawn game, and he wants to not complicate matters.
Complicate matters, that will happen, I can assure you. I think once we get into the middle game, there's no stopping these two from getting into those kind of battles. Right now, what I'm focusing on is how has Alireza managed to make terms with what's happened on the clock? Are we going to see a faster Alireza in this game? Will he make quicker decisions? Will he play attacking chess, stick to his style of play, but also believe in his intuition, rely on his instincts, and just make those moves faster? Right now, we see the c-pawn going up the board, controlling some central squares. After we get a castle, we will see that d-pawn going up the board again, more real estate in the center.
I think the normal way actually for black to play this position is to shuffle around the king and then advance those pawns on the king side. So you can slide the king to the right sometimes, then maybe you bring the knight back or to the side, and you push those, at least the f-pawn, but also even sometimes the g-pawn. The idea is basically, white's dark squared bishop sucks. There's just really no better way to put it. But you're baiting the opponent into doing that. You're not going to lose the bishop, but it's going to get wild. And we see if Magnus goes for that, but I kind of doubt it.
You know, it's either that plan, and like you pointed out, the dark squared bishop, not so great. It's the light square bishop that is the gem in white's position. The other way to handle this opening, if you're Magnus Carlsen right now, is to offer an instant trade of the light squared bishop. Bishop to e6, get rid of that, try to fight for another break. You mentioned f5. I'm saying go for d5.
Yeah, d5 is another critical idea in these positions, and that's exactly what Magnus goes for. Doesn't really care if it's maybe not the best, but it's simple. It is simple, and Alireza is the one that's going to have to show, hey, I know how to maneuver this position better than you, and I also am able to do it well on the clock, which I have to say, for the first time in a while, is in his favor.
And that's been his big takeaway. Now, Alireza has got 2 out of the 3 remaining games as white. Is he going to go all out in this one? Will he rely on that final one to create complications right out of the opening? Big questions. Magnus keeping it solid. We see a double pawns, but the drawback of that for white is you give an F-line open. Also, black gets more control on the squares at the center of the board right now. But Levy, usually once we see this trade, it becomes very hard for black to actually break out with d5. There's always that e-pawn which remains soft.
Perfect example, by the way. Like, right now, black can't play d5 at all, but now he, like, super duper can't play d5. Like, because the pawn would be able to take it, then the rook, the knight, and the bishop would all be attacking that center pawn. I like Alireza's plan. He's shutting down Magnus's pawn play, and so now Magnus has to solve the position in terms of, where do I move my knights? Where do I move my bishop? I was going to say bishops, but unfortunately he only has one of those. And do I still play with this idea of maybe advancing on the king side? Because I could, but yeah, I mean, a move like that's just kind of like, I'm stabilizing, right? I'm just sitting, I'm going to wait. I'll let Alireza come to me.
The dream plan for black in these positions would be to reroute that kingside knight to the f4 square. You're eyeing h5 and a jump to f4, but you have to watch out for tactics. That knight on h5 will be undefended, allowing white a potential knight takes pawn sacrifice at the center of the board. So always time that well, and for now it is Alireza Firouzja first to the center. He strikes with d4, lashes out. Feels like a good time. You know, you've got the c line for the other rook opened up as well.
Alireza does get rid of Magnus's weakness, potential weakness, let's put it this way. And he does give Magnus access to the square. You give Magnus an inch. Oh, I know we're in Paris, I keep saying that. He's gonna take a mile. These are American measurements. It doesn't sound as good when you say you give a centimeter, he's gonna take a kilometer. And look at this, he's just jumping around with his horses. He's got the active rook. I hate to say this, Alireza is going to need something to get his confidence back up, because I just don't think he's feeling it right now. And Tanya, we've seen this. We've seen Magnus win a game, and Alireza just, he might spin out of control.
I don't know what you're talking about, because this is the first time this entire day in this match against Magnus that Alireza's up on the clock. And I think that is a very positive sign for Falcons.
Yes. Having said that, yeah, Magnus himself has been a little bit more in the tank. Hey, don't curse it, okay? Because if the next couple moves, Alireza gets low on time, I'm blaming you. So he's got to continue this
pace.
Yes, this
Absolutely.
pace, exactly. I don't like... I don't like the hesitation a little bit. I want to see him like walk down the middle of the board. He's got to bring his knight out to c4, improve his worst place piece. Come on, Alireza.
Just keep the momentum going, and he has to trust himself a bit more. He has to play the position. He has to play on Magnus's clock. When you're playing against Magnus Carlsen, you need to be able to piece everything together. You have to beat him all around, all over and over again, not just opening, middle game, end game, but every single move of the way along with that. And for Alireza, what he needs is really time. He goes into a thing. I love the idea of actually jumping forward with your knight to c4. He does it. You can also reroute it towards the center of the board. It just feels like there is enough meat in this position, enough juice in this position to fight for. You have the better center if you're Alireza. You've got a really nice knight placed on c4. An open c-file. Magnus retreats with his bishop to defend his weak pawn.
And Alireza can continue to maneuver here with his knight. That's exactly what he does. And yeah, the 1 minute time advantage is very good. Now, this is the moment. Will he pause here, go in the tank? Will he continue to play at the space? Will he find the way to advance with the pawns?
And what is the way? It's kind of hard to come up with a good pawn push in this position, and I like what Magnus just did. He retreated with the bishop, just preempting any doubling up on the c-file. And Alireza realizes that Magnus's most active piece is the knight on the left. Let me get rid of it.
He's now trading it.
It's coming off the board. And after knight takes knight, the rook will capture it back. The other rook ready to double up. But eventually, Alireza will need to find a pawn move. A pawn push or a break to change the dynamics.
Exactly. And the reason he hasn't pushed is because Magnus will push the other one. Whichever pawn Alireza is going to push, Magnus will push the E or the D or the D or the E and lock the position. That is a big decision. Wow, that knight does not look like it's going to be comfortable. Is he going to put it on e7, g6, and then f4?
Ooh, he's rerouting it. I mean, f4, that's a square we've been screaming about for the black knight to land on. But this gives white pieces to attack.
Yes, that knight is unprotected completely. You could attack it. Now, Magnus is not going to lose it. He's trying to put it on e7, and then all the way around to the other side of the board. There is only one square, if I can pull up an analysis board, that actually prevents this plan, really, fully, I feel like. I will show it to you in a second. It's this. Because after this, you can't go here.
Oh,
Because I'm
wow.
gonna look at that. That's pretty sick. That doesn't happen.
That's a tough spot. He doesn't find it. Instead, he hits the knight the other way with the rook, and Magnus Carlsen invites a repetition. Don't take it. Just don't do it.
The time advantage is 25 seconds. You just said it, right? Like, we needed that energy. We needed that pace. Not because I want Magnus to lose. I just want to see more chess. Close match means more chess.
He's got to play on, Levy. This position, and he does. Alireza is ambitious about his chances in this one. He doesn't fall back with the knight, even if that move is a question mark. It doesn't matter.
And it's only a question mark because of this. Like, again, we've been saying it's one of these weird positions where actually expanding the king side pawns is somehow the way to go. That wasn't necessarily it, but now these knights are coming in over here. Alireza can bring his rook up and cover that. And then there, by the way, might be still some sort of repetition of moves here. But there's also another possibility, which is to trade once, or maybe to trade twice, and then go for some sort of endgame. But Alireza unlikely to win such a position. That's just the reality. Black is very solid. He's also the best endgame player in the world. And frankly, he might be the best defender. I know it's always him or Hikaru.
But that's the thing. With Magnus Carlsen, he's just good at everything, and it feels like he does all of those things just a little bit better than every other chess player.
The time there, by the way, Alireza was down on time for like 3 seconds. It's close now, but...
Leveled out.
It's exactly what you said, the pace. We needed the pace. We needed the energy.
Levy, this is again starting to get concerning. Now, the rooks moved forward, fighting against that fork that was being threatened on d3. And you pointed out that if Magnus wants it, he can start chasing this rook up and down the board with the knight on the left side coming in. Or is Magnus going to start pushing that g-pawn that you earlier said, now that the knight is nicely planted on f4? That's Magnus saying, I want more in this.
Yeah, okay, he does it this way. He's not much of a position repeater.
You know, he plays it, but he's not happy with it. Instantly a shake of his head.
So why'd he play it? No, it's the typical chess player thing, right? Play a move and you're instantly like, why did I do that? He could have repeated, obviously. He could have just shuffled the knight around like I showed, but that's not his style, right? That's not why he likes to do that.
It's also not an easy decision now for Alireza how to react to this move. You know, you've got the central pawn. Do you trade it? Do you trade the knight? That knight is a thorn in White's camp, the knight on f4. The knight on b4 not making life any easier as well currently. Now with e5 played, Black also potentially has ideas of rook lifts lining up on the g line. You know, the h-pawn moving up the board. I know it's far away, but there are potential for a kingside attack here for Black.
Yeah, let's just pull up an analysis board. Magnus is very unhappy with his decision. I don't really know why, but what I do know is Alireza is now down 30 seconds on the clock nearly. And if Magnus were to take this pawn in the center, then we would get something like this. Like, to me, this looks very natural. But this is actually maybe not the best. And he has taken. Right?
We're going to see pawn takes pawn, only move.
Mm-hmm. And so now apparently it's not this, it's now taking here. Or, okay. That move also very logical. This knight can go back, Tanya, right? Attacking this pawn on c7. I guess Magnus just doesn't like that now he's under pressure. Is that it?
Feels like it, that he feels that, you know, this e5 pawn that he pushed, he's voluntarily given a target to White. Now that pawn, which was kind of defended and hard to get to, the white knight attacks it. Potentially other pieces might join in targeting that e5 pawn. It's just another weakness for Magnus to take care of.
But this is the best game we have so far in terms of there are 4 minutes remaining on the clock and like nearly every piece. We could continue to analyze here. Okay, this might actually be an offer of a draw.
That knight isn't staying there for too long. If you walk back, if you step back with the rook, I think Alireza's Magnus is ready even to step back, and he does it.
He could slide it over to the right. That rook does not have to go back to where it was. And you don't spend time here. You have to make a decision. You cannot spend a minute.
The decision isn't Levy with square. The decision is, are you playing for more?
And he is. He is playing for more, and that was the best move. So 25 seconds advantage for Magnus, which really in Alireza's world, he could make that up in 1 second, you know, just like pre-move everything. This is his best position, other than the winning one for a move last game in the scramble. But in terms of time on the clock, wow.
That's a whole traffic jam on that diagonal that the bishop has just landed on. The queen, the rook, the knight, the bishop, and a pawn. But this is committal by Magnus. Yep. Gives a doubled pawn.
Push f3, push f3. Just defend everything, bring the dark squared bishop back. Typical. Or that, fine.
I like it. Rook d7, a massive threat on the board. 7th rank.
Yeah, but now he got stopped, right? Now he can't play the move f3. But yeah, rook d7 is looking really good. Alireza just got to trust in himself and move.
He just can't spend that much time for these moments right now. And I've noticed that about these players. Well, he goes a different approach. So he had another idea. He hit the c7 pawn, now defended by Magnus. That rook, it gets a blunder. He could attack that with his bishop. Alireza could go bishop h4. There's no square for that rook to stay connected to the c7 pawn.
Bishop h4 is just a direct attack on the rook. Maybe Magnus thought he could trade something here or create some counterplay somehow, but he played that move fast. He played it fast because he wanted to put pressure on Alireza on the clock. Alireza's not moving.
But he needs to move. This is not over. This is far from over. Checks, captures, threats. There are no checks in the position. The captures don't work. You have to look for threats. There's a direct one. Alireza would spot this all the time. It's a one-mover, Levy. Why is he not playing? He does it finally.
He does, but I honestly think it was just a matter of like, there's no way Magnus would have blundered that. I really think that is what it was. And now we're going to get grimaces out of Magnus.
And I think it's deeper than that. I think there are massive tactics on the board. I'm looking at ideas where the black knight is hinting at a fork on e2. And I might completely be losing my mind, but is rook to d7 even a possibility? Or am I going crazy right now?
That is wild. Let's maybe show that We don't have too much time. 209 versus 254. If the rook were to slide over and you take it, there is knight to e2 check, and you actually have to attack the knight. Then the knight takes your queen. You take the queen. The knight takes the rook. takes, and then b3. Obviously, to get out of this.
And white's winning.
And white's winning, right? Because then you're going to go here, and it's it's
all the pawns fall.
All the pawns are falling. All right, let's get the live board up.
Wait, he went rook g7. It's on the board.
It's on the board, and Alireza didn't go for it.
He could have just taken the rook. That was a bluff. That did not work.
Now, it only didn't work because of b3. But Alireza trusts Magnus, grabs the pawn on e5 instead, and now Magnus is a pawn down. But the position is so nasty here for white's king.
And for some reason, it's Magnus who's on the front foot right now. It has to do with his piece activity. I don't know what's the best move in the position, but Magnus needs to find it. He's also going under the 2-minute mark right now. This is going to be wild territory, and I say that only because I think the first time in this match, it will also be Magnus Carlsen under time pressure.
Oh my! This is so crazy. He can infiltrate fully across the board here with his queen all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner. But you would abandon your king. The other moves, he can maybe bring the knight back and attack the queen and the bishop. That looks very natural to me. He can jump in either knight to attack the queen on the d3 square. He sits up 140. He is now lower. The time. But look at the heart rate. 105. This is Alireza Firouzja has to win this game.
He needs to convert this one. It's a triple digit on the heart right now for both these players. He comes in with the queen. There's home rank problems. A checkmate in one being threatened currently. Alireza needs breathing space for that king.
This is so unbelievably complicated. There is only one line to survive this attack right now. Alireza has to bring his knight back to c3. He's going to think that he's losing, but there are so many wild tactics on the board. 130 a player. He's found it. Now Magnus can jump in with his knight and give it, and he doesn't give the check. He doesn't give the check. He just wins a pawn.
He does, Magnus Carlsen, but now where is Alireza's attack on that black king is the question. How does he keep the pressure? Right now, it's still level material. It's 5-5 currently, but an absolutely wild position. The knight's looking at the white king. He still doesn't have a good way to create escape squares. Any pawn move on that right side is extremely weakening.
Yeah, what does he do? Can he grab the pawn on c7? But no, Alireza is now down 25 seconds on the clock, nearly 30% of his opponent's time.
Make a move, Alireza. He has to move, Levy.
If Alireza loses this game, he is going to lose this match. Magnus will have white in the next game. He's gone pawn to g3, attacking the knight.
But this is what we spoke about. It just leaves behind so many squares for the black knight to jump on. You could give a check on h3.
But Magnus isn't happy. I mean, he's also he's very distraught by this move. Will he find the best move? That was the best move. And now the queen is under attack, and you can't even take the knight.
You can't take the knight. The rook defends it. You have to fall back with the queen. Magnus getting ready to give a check on h3, and that's not any average check. The rook is ready, eyeballing that pawn on f2. That's going to be major pressure on Alireza's king, who's now gone into hyper bullet territory with 30 seconds.
No, this is an amazing under pressure performance for Magnus. The knight is in, and honestly,
the pawn at the center of the board is falling.
Yeah.
Levy, queen takes pawn next.
No, this is wraps. I mean, if Alireza survives this, it's truly a miracle.
And that was a head nod. Magnus knowing that this has to be close to his second win of the match. The king steps up, and Alireza trying to get the queens off the board to just avoid any checkmates.
But 20 seconds. It's really not even won a game on time here, but it's just amazing technique from Magnus.
It's been the story of this match so far, Levy.
Oh, g5. He's gonna mummify the bishop with g5. That is it. That is it for Alireza Firouzja.
That is beautiful geometry on the board right there. The bishop gets trapped, and he doesn't pick it up immediately. He's looking at the knight jump. There's a pawn hanging on g4. And Magnus has seen this all the way through. He sacrifices the rook. You pick that up. The knight takes it. The rook falls. And at the end of it, once the dust settles, it's Magnus Carlsen with 3 extra pawns and Alireza with 8 seconds on the clock.
Now, he obviously will lose one of them, but it simply does not matter. I mean, there is a very small chance Magnus doesn't win this in a time scramble, but
Alireza could have an hour on the clock, and he's not saving this one, Levy.
No, this is just b4, b3. This is easy. This is easy. And that's it. And that is it. Magnus Carlsen wins again after the break to take a 3-1 lead in this match with a game coming up with the white pieces. It's a nightmare for Alireza Firouzja.
It absolutely is for the Falcons. First, Hikaru exits, and now Alireza staring at the same. He needs to make miracles happen in this next one. For Magnus, it was absolute flow and rhythm by the end of it. He found all the right moves, kept the pressure, and again, the clock played a massive role. And Magnus Carlsen under pressure was just flawless.